Welcome to our channel. Let's begin the journey.
How do you build a nuclear reactor that safely operates at temperatures hot enough to melt steel? I mean, it sounds straight out of science fiction, doesn't it? When we normally think of nuclear power, we picture water. Those massive cooling towers, millions of gallons of pressurized water just working overtime to keep the reactor core from overheating. But what if we completely flipped that script? What if a reactor was actually designed to run so incredibly hot that liquid water simply wouldn't work at all? And what if the fuel itself was engineered at the microscopic level to be practically indestructible? Well, today, we're tackling an extreme engineering challenge that fundamentally rethinks how we generate clean, reliable energy.
Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're breaking down the anatomy of a high-temperature gas reactor.
Okay, let's dive into this. To truly grasp the absolute genius of this design, we actually have to mentally construct it from the microscopic level all the way up. What we're looking at is the exact recipe for building a single, highly advanced nuclear fuel particle. It's called a TRISO particle, which stands for tri-structural isotropic. You can kind of think of it like a microscopic, hyper-engineered jawbreaker. So, right in the very center, step 1, we have the fuel kernel itself. This is uranium dioxide enriched to about 7 to 15%. But, as we know, uranium creates fission products when it splits. So for step 2, engineers surround that kernel with a porous carbon buffer. And this layer is actually spongy. It gives the fuel kernel room to swell and provides a safe, contained space for radioactive fission gases to collect so they don't burst the particle. Next up, step 3, we add a dense layer of inner pyrolytic carbon. That's followed closely by step 4, which is honestly the star of the show, the silicon carbide barrier. Silicon carbide is just incredibly tough. It acts like a miniature, personal pressure vessel for the uranium. Finally, step 5, an outer pyrolytic carbon layer seals the entire thing together. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly what that 5-step recipe looks like when you put it under an electron microscope. Just look at how perfectly uniform those isotropic layers are, wrapping completely around that central fuel kernel. Now, what's truly fascinating here is the sheer scale. When you hear multi-layered pressure vessel, you might naturally imagine something the size of a golf ball, or maybe a marble. But no, this insanely complex, heavily armored fortress is exceptionally tiny. The entire outer diameter of this sphere is just 0.5 to 1.0 millimeters. We are literally talking smaller than the head of a pin. Yet each and every single one of these microspheres is its own self-contained, melt-proof containment building.
To really give you a sense of that visual scaling, imagine a pile of these finished TRISO fuel grains sitting right next to a standard pencil tip. They essentially just look like coarse, black sand, or maybe poppy seeds. But obviously, you can't just toss a bunch of radioactive sand into a reactor core and call it a day. So engineers take those tiny TRISO grains and permanently embed them into solid black graphite matrix components. And graphite is chosen for a very specific reason. It has amazing thermal inertia. Basically, it acts like a giant heat sponge. It can absorb massive amounts of heat without losing its structural integrity, all while acting as an excellent moderator to slow down fast neutrons and keep the fission reaction going.
So, zooming out again, we can see how this all starts to build into an actual reactor. Now, instead of traditional cylindrical fuel rods, a highly popular design here is the modular pebble bed reactor. In this setup, those tiny coated particles are embedded into a graphite matrix that's shaped into a perfect sphere. We call it a pebble. It's exactly 60 millimeters in diameter, so roughly the size of a tennis ball. Inside just one of these 60 millimeter graphite pebbles, there's a staggering 11,000 of our coated TRISO microspheres. 11,000! And to guarantee absolute safety, the outermost 5 millimeters of this pebble is just a solid, pure graphite layer. So no actual fuel sits right on the edge. It is a protective shell wrapped around a protective matrix, housing thousands of protective microscopic TRISO particles.
360,000. I really want that number to sink in, because that is exactly how many of these graphite fuel pebbles are packed together inside a single modular pebble bed reactor core. Imagine this incredibly heavily armored silo, a reactor core that's 10 meters high and 3.5 meters in diameter, just filled to the absolute brim with 360,000 of these tennis ball-sized fuel spheres. Honestly, it's kind of like a giant continuous gumball machine. And that's actually how it operates. As the reactor runs, new pebbles can simply be dropped in at the top, while the spent ones are safely removed from the bottom. This means the reactor can literally run continuously without ever having to shut down for refueling. But here is where we hit a massive engineering shift. In your traditional reactors, like boiling water reactors or pressurized water reactors, liquid water is used as the coolant. It absorbs the heat and moderates the neutrons. But remember our hook at the very beginning? Our high-temperature gas reactor core runs incredibly hot to achieve its high efficiency.
Because the graphite and those TRISO fuel particles are literally engineered to thrive at extreme temperatures, if you pumped liquid water in there, it would instantly flash to steam and cause a massive overpressurization event. There's no way it would work. Therefore, we require an inert gas, and helium is absolutely perfect for this. It doesn't become radioactive, it doesn't corrode the graphite, and it efficiently absorbs and carries away the immense 250 megawatts of thermal power being generated by those 360,000 pebbles.
So the crucial point is, why go through all this trouble? Why build TRISO particles and graphite pebbles and use helium gas? Well, it all comes down to engineered safety. Because of those inner layers, especially that rigid silicon carbide barrier we talked about, the TRISO particles are cracking resistant well beyond 1600 degrees Celsius. Even under massive thermal stress, and even with the buildup of internal fission products, the fuel simply will not melt down. It's practically unbreakable. Furthermore, the core behaves isothermally. That's a fancy way of saying it has an inherent negative temperature coefficient. If the reactor ever gets too hot, the physical properties of the graphite core naturally slow the fission reaction down entirely on their own, without any human intervention. It is physically, fundamentally impossible for the reactor to melt itself.
Bringing our narrative full circle, let's look at the ultimate goal of all this complex engineering. The heat generated by fission in those microscopic fuel kernels transfers out through the protective layers into the graphite pebbles and is swept away by that high-speed helium gas. This superheated helium is then put to work. It's used either directly in a Brayton cycle gas turbine or through a secondary steam loop to spin massive turbines. That mechanical spinning is attached to a generator, which seamlessly converts all of that safely harnessed thermal energy into clean, zero-emission electrical energy for our cities.
We have literally journeyed from a fuel kernel smaller than a grain of sand all the way to a towering 10-meter-high reactor capable of safely powering our electrical grid. Which really leaves us with this final, provocative thought. If we can engineer nuclear fuel to be inherently melt-proof at a microscopic level, safely trapping waste and utilizing inert helium so that meltdowns are a physical impossibility, what is truly limiting us from completely replacing fossil fuels tomorrow? Is it just economics? Public perception? Infrastructure? It's a fascinating question about the scalable promise of the pebble bed design, and it's something I really hope you'll keep thinking about long after this explainer ends. Thanks so much for joining me on this deep dive. Keep learning, and I'll catch you next time.
The view from here is breathtaking. Command, we are in position and ready for the next phase. If you liked the video, subscribe and comment the topic you want next. Thanks for watching, and stay unstoppable.